As a kid growing up, man, I grew up in the race shop with my dad. Before I went to school, I would just go to the babysitters while Dad was working on engines during the day, and then when I get home at night, we'd go out in the garage and he'd be working on his race cars. And so I grew up rolling around on the floor underneath his race cars with him, and just growing up going to the racetrack with him. I went to the racetrack. I was 6 weeks old the first time, and so I've been going ever since. So that's kind of how it was when I was a pretty young kid. And then once I started going to school, I would come home and help Dad clean the race car and start working on it as I got older and started learning about it. I started racing go-karts when I was 6 years old, and I did that from 6 years old to 15 years old. And I started racing full-size cars when I was 15, and at that time when I started racing full-size cars and started having some success, I kind of told myself, this is what I really want to do for a living, somehow, some way, in some capacity. And that turned out to be racing in the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series now. I never really thought it would get that far. I thought I would still be racing dirt cars and sprint cars for a living, which I would have been fine with, but definitely grateful for this opportunity. So I would say it started probably when I was around the 13 to 15-year-old range, when I kind of got serious and thinking about, like, this is what I wanted to do. Looking up, to people racing when I was a kid, I'd first off had to say my dad. I learned so much from him, from the work ethic side of things, on how to prepare your race car and how hard you had to work and dedicate yourself to be fast. So I learned a lot from him, and growing up watching him win a lot of races, man, we took so many pictures on the front straightaway after he would win. It was a lot of fun. So I would say I looked up to him for forever. Now, on the Sprint Cup side of things, looking up to people in NASCAR, my favorite driver growing up was Jeff Gordon. So, I would say those two. Being a fan of Jeff Gordon growing up, and then, all of a sudden, you're racing. My first Cup race was in Charlotte in 2011, and, you're out there racing with them. You qualify around them, and you're doing the same things. It's a pretty surreal moment, just kind of checking it out, looking around, especially if you are racing side by side with them. And there's a lot of people in the sport that I didn't get an opportunity to race with or meet, and that I would like to. But it's a lot of fun racing those guys, and being able to tell them that you were big fans of them growing up. And I think I have a lot of respect for them, and I hope that they have the same respect for me.